What is up, y'all? It's your girl, Brand New, and I'm back in the building. This time I am back for Married to Medicine. This is season 6, episode 2. Let's get off into the episode. So they showed Dr. Jackie seeing a patient, and I guess the patient is having a boy, and then I guess the boy had his penis up or whatever in a little ultrasound. That was crazy. Jackie was like, boy, put your penis down. We got Mariah teaching her daughter, the splits and different little dance routines. I guess the daughter is going to be in the dance. It was funny when Mariah did the splits and the daughter said, you did split your whole insides. I got a tickle off of that, honey. We got Quad. She's practicing for Sister Circle, announcing Viola Davis. She still got them damn pet puppies. Honey, what is up with that damn Allura? Look like she had this attitude. She always got a little attitude. Y'all know she a bit grown, but I would have had to pinch her ass. Like, listen, we are on TV. You need to, show more respect. I guess her and Heavenly have that relationship where Heavenly annoys her and she doesn't hide it, but the girl is a little bit too mouthy for me. She's definitely getting older. Y'all notice how little Laura is getting older? Anyways, Heavenly and Daddy, they're talking with Laura because Daddy comes in and, Heavenly wants Laura to show Daddy some of her cheers. Laura ain't with the shit. She walks away. You know what's really sad is when Heavenly and Daddy, they began, look at me, I'm calling Damon Daddy, honey, but y'all know who I'm talking about. They began talking about Mariah. Heavenly tells Damon that Mariah said that he had cheated on her, and Damon was genuinely hurt. He's like, why would she make up something like that? What did I ever do to her? And I just feel like the spouses and kids should be off limits. I feel like Mariah is a dirty lie. What that man on Braxton Family Values say, you's a lie, you's a dirty lie. And that's what Mariah is. She shouldn't have never made that stupid ass comment. And if you a lie about something like that, you'll lie about other things. Did y'all see the motherfucking previews where she go hit Quad and Quad ain't gonna do nothing but just get in her face? I would have had to choke that bitch. Lakeisha. So we got Contessa and her husband at home. Contessa, as usual, is cooking up a storm. Honey, you better get them damn kids some fucking Lunchables and take a damn break. Shit, all these full course meals, I should say. Remember, she was cooking pancakes, eggs, and bacon and shit. I'm looking like, them motherfuckers would get a Pop-Tart and y'all go on to school, have a good day at school. That would be that. But, she's cooking for, the kids or whatever. The little girl ends up choking on some sushi or something. Contessa was like, hitting her in the back of the neck, trying to get it to come out. And it was just sad. The husband, he's helping her as well. And it was just really scary. Why is the girl eating sushi anyways? I'm not allowing my child, especially that young, to eat something like that. I don't know. That kind of rubbed me in a different way, but to each his own. Contessa talking about if she gets a nanny or a babysitter, she think the kids will panic. Bitch, if you don't get one, you go panic. Like I said before, I don't get why people have all these fucking kids and can't fucking deal with them. It's just like, what the fuck? That's why it's good to just have sex, child, and have that birth control on backup. I get you love your husband, but I think you should have just kept it at maybe 2. It's like y'all was fucking up a storm. Now you got to deal with that when you get out of the bed. So, girl, Contessa, you need to just run you a good old daycare, make some money, and be at home. Girl, I'm thinking the one that choked, she just all in the camera, noodles hanging out. I would pull her little ass to the side. And I would pitch her and say, when these cameras leave, I will be giving your ass a good ass whooping. So you prepare for that. And if she wouldn't be making all them damn faces, then that little girl is bad. And it looks like she's bad because it's like Contessa is a passive aggressive parent. She doesn't really check stuff. She just, they just kids. There are a lot of people out in the world that say that, they just kids. You better keep their ass in line. You would have thought she didn't just get done choking. She got noodles and shit hanging out her mouth like she cute. Contessa gets to telling us about her father and how he's coming into town, but, he's been sick. I believe she said he has Crohn's disease because he smokes. He's had a lot of surgeries. He was never there for her growing up, and, he had issues with drugs and that type of thing. But at the same time, he's the only father that she has ever known. She also mentioned growing up, whenever it was payday, they knew they wasn't going to see him the next couple of days because I guess that's when he would go off, take his money, and go do drugs. Contessa said something that confused me. She said, I don't know any person that would have kids and just neglect them. Girl, a lot of these people have kids and neglect them, and, that's all I see people do is they keep having all these kids, and they don't come around to see them, and they don't, make sure they got lunch money and just check up on them, and they don't do those type things. So it's just like, there are people that real life neglect their kids. So I think what Contessa is trying to reconcile, he wasn't the best dad to me, but maybe if I get him around my kids before something happens to him, he gets even sicker, he could have that bond with them the way that I would have wished he would have had with me. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. There's nothing wrong with wanting him to make up for lost time and make it up with your kids. The husband was on Contessa's side, of course, and just like, he needs to make up for lost time. That's fucked up what he did to you, how he wasn't there for you. And Contessa agrees, but she was still kind of making excuses. He's just sick, and that's what my mother always told me. I guess her mother didn't want her to see her father as a bad guy, but at the end of the day, we got to see people for who they are. And that's the only way we can live is within truth. But I definitely saw where she was coming from. Okay, so pretty much we got Quad and we got Selena Johnson. Y'all know her from R&B Divas. She's a co-host on Sister Circle, and this lady named Rashawn. Quad lets us know she became fast friends with them because she works with them every day. And they kind of get into why she hasn't been around her group of friends, the Married to Medicine girls, and she's just like, well, you just feel so judged. Quad, you have judged other people, though. And in this type of situation, everybody's going to have an opinion the same way you had an opinion about what Dr. Jackie and Curtis was going through. So I'm not understanding. It's like she's selfish. It's like, oh, when it becomes about me, now it's uncomfortable and I don't want to talk about it with them. And she kind of lets them know, Rashawn and Selena, that, that she kind of feels like they her real friends, and, she doesn't feel judged by them. And I'm just looking like, you just started working with them. So, yes, the women on here could be judgmental, but still, you're still getting to know Selena and Rashawn. They look good because they are away from the Married to Medicine cast. They're on a new show with you. And so, and it's so interesting because I go back to that interview with Mariah and Dr. Heavenly, and they was saying, did Quad change because she's got on the Sister Circle? And Mariah had made that statement. Quad tries to be who everybody thinks she should be. She doesn't really know how to just be herself. And she had mentioned she misses the old Quad. And I could see a little bit of that. I get that Quad is upset about Dr. G and him cheating and him acting a fool, but at the same time, you have chosen to stay for so long because this didn't happen overnight. You've been unhappy with him and you should have left a while ago. And I know it's easier said than done, but at the same time, you got to take responsibility for your part too, because you knew that man, the way he was talking to you and shit, it wasn't right. But the girl said, Selena and Rashawn say they go pray for Quad and Dr. G that they both come out of this situation, even if it ends in divorce. They hope that both of them continue to be healthy and live their best life. And I'm happy that she has them. They all seem really cool. But Quad, you got to get to know people. You can't assume because you got this new job at Sister Circle you could just trust these women over the women that you've been on the show with. Now, of course, you can't trust Mariah's ass. Of course, to that. But everybody else, come on. And Quad, let me get on your ass really quick, because I just saw an interview with you and Dr. Jackie. They did some interview, you guys. You guys can check it out. It's on YouTube. And it's recent. And Quad, you were just so defensive. You were so defensive about the cheating situation. And Dr. Jackie was trying to step in and just be like, Quad, you got to let people in. We get that you're hurt and you're sad. Nobody knows more than me. And because Quad was like, well, who would want to talk about my situation? I don't need to talk about my situation. Like, she was getting so defensive and over the top and dramatic. And it's just like, Quad, Dr. Jackie is just trying to be there with you. But yeah, damn near got into an argument with Jackie in front of the interviewer. And this has happened before. Whenever they try to address her, she gets defensive and all in her motherfucking feelings. And, she's never really trying to listen. It's like, I gotta have the last word. Or, I gotta let you know what it really is. And, she can't ever be humble and just listen. Okay, so Toya decides to get with the party planner to celebrate Eugene and his new promotion, but she's going to make it look like it's a birthday party for her, since she hasn't really had a party for herself. So that, I felt like that was clever and a good idea, and it's nice to show your man that he's appreciated. So I was happy for Toya to make that gesture. I also love Toya with that hair, that curly hair. That looks really pretty on her. Okay, so we got Simone and CeCil. That motherfucking Simone is working my motherfucking nerves, you guys. I don't know about y'all, but she is working my nerves. I already see what she's doing wrong. Anyways, they both are finally in the same house together. She gets there first, and, she's playing around with this picture that she took at the party that they had. And so she gets to hanging the picture up, and CeCil comes in. He got food or whatever. So she's just saying this little negative shit. Well, some other guy, he would like it if, he would appreciate my picture being hung up by the TV. Like, why are you starting out so negative? And I know she's playing with him, but it's how she communicates with him is where they are going to always butt heads and get off on the wrong foot. She's always talking to him in a passive, aggressive, sarcastic type way, and then she gets off into, okay, before I get to that, CeCil mentions, it's been a long time since we made love, since we've been intimate. He just wants to connect with his wife. And this bitch is sitting up here, well, I need CeCil to make me feel loved. It is not his responsibility to make you feel loved. First, you need to love yourself. And then I'm concerned with he needs to make me feel loved. What are you going to do for him? It just seems one-sided. Oh, I need him to make me feel. He need to, like, if you start talking to him differently, then maybe you can fucking have what you want out of this relationship. But you always nitpicking Simone and looking for something to be wrong. And you could have showed him that picture and kissed him and began undressing for him. Like, be sexy with it. It's just like, she's over being a wife. It's like, at this point, why are you wasting this man's time? She's saying she wants to feel love, and he needs to show it by his actions and his words. He done brought you food. I could tell CeCil didn't come in there to argue with her. She was getting loud a few times. He kind of kept his same mild-manneredness. He kept it at a certain level. Like, he kind of laughing stuff off. She's too fucking dramatic, too. She's manipulative. Well, he needs to do all of this and do all that before we have sex. See, everything is about control and manipulation until she gets what she wants. So that means she's not concerned with what she put out into the marriage. And I believe Jackie told her motherfucking ass last season, don't worry about him. Make sure you're doing your part. And Jackie, you need to tell your friend that again, or we gonna be looking at another fucking divorce. I'm serious. It was interesting when Simone brought up Dr. Ken, y'all know that counselor that's been helping them, and CeCil was like, well, we need to get to a place where we don't need him and we could communicate with each other. And I agree, but Simone said, well, we're still not at that point. We got all this work to do. And when are y'all going to get there? Like, when are you going to put in some work, Simone? Like, do your part, bitch. Set an example. So CeCil brought up a good point. He basically was telling her, in the 21 years we've been married, how many decisions have we made where we got it right the first time? It's going to take work. We got to work through stuff. And then Simone gets into, well, I just feel like, in the beginning of our marriage, you put forth more effort to make me feel love. And it's like, bitch, you are not at the beginning of your marriage. It looked like you at the end and you giving up. Your relationship is never going to be as good as it was in the beginning, because in the beginning, every relationship has a certain newness to it. You haven't really gone through life with each other. You haven't really had to deal with that person's issues and them. Y'all know the man and lost his job and shit like that. So financially, it's like she's the breadwinner, and I could picture CeCil being distant and shit because of all of that. And I feel like he's feeling vulnerable inside, and she's putting too much space in between them. She could help him with that by being intimate, but no, she feels like, well, I'll just keep punishing him, and she is the reason of relationship, you guys. I'm not saying it's just her, but I feel like she's the one that's fucking it up and making it worse through her behavior. And she really thinks that she's in control of the situation, but I feel like you're losing control, So they end up saying to each other, you know what, we just go take everything one step at a time. Let's go on to bed. You need to be taking them drawers off, making love to your man. And, that way you're not in a situation, Simone, honestly, where you're getting cheated on, because that's next. Because you keep on not doing your work as his motherfucking wife. You keep trying to get out of it. So next we got this scene with Eva. We know Eva, she's going to be on Housewives of Atlanta this season. So, she's getting checked out. This is back when she was pregnant. She was contracting. So next we got Heavenly. And she's sitting up here with some counselor guy. And I'm just happy it's not that fucking Jewel Tanker. But she's sitting up here with him, letting him know basically about Mariah and all the issues she's had with her and how Mariah lies a lot. Then Heavenly says, well, I always tell the truth, so I don't understand why she be doing what she be doing. And then the therapist guy, he was just like, well, truth without honesty and compassion is brutality. And I felt like that was pretty interesting. It's so funny. This man begins pulling out pictures of Heavenly, and she looks all evil on the first picture. And then he was like, who is that Heavenly? She was like, I don't know who that bitch is. Then they show one of her family, and, Heavenly gets emotional saying, I just feel blessed. I got everything that I ever wanted. I got the man, I got the career, I got my kids. And she just gets to saying, well, if everything is so perfect for me and everything I touch turn to gold, then why do I get so ugly with people? Heavenly, you know why you get ugly with people. You don't like them lying. And I'm with you. Like, I'm with you when you keeping it real and you calling bitches out, So it's just like, I think this spiritual journey shit is just really a storyline. Because like Heavenly said on that interview, she doesn't have any intention on really sharing her marriage with them the way that they all open up. And, she's going to keep certain things private. And I don't blame her. I don't think that just because you on a reality show, you need to share everything. Give us the little gist of, what's going on. Like, don't lie. Don't be fronting and shit too. But I feel like she knows how to play the game, but she needs to just recognize that she's always gonna go to fuck off on people, and she's wasting this counselor, therapist, whatever the fuck he is. She wasting his time because you're gonna do what you're gonna do, Heavenly, because you are around these gutter snipe bitches, especially that fucking Mariah. She's willing to lie on you and say whatever. So, I mean, just be ready, bitch. So next we are at Toya's party, and we have Simone and Heavenly. They get there first. They making sure the food is right, the decorations is right. Then we got Toya and Eugene. They are getting ready to go to the party. Toya lets us know she invited everybody. Quad said that she had another engagement, but she'll try to make it. Quad ain't trying to fuck with y'all during this time. But Eugene, he thinks it's for Toya's birthday. So he was like, well, it ain't no excuse for her to not be there at your birthday, because you have been there for her. And Toya was like, yeah, I feel bad because I have been there, for a lot with Quad. And they show how Toya was in a car with Quad when she was going through all that shit with Dr. Eugene. We show people at the party getting food, eating, talking shit. Everybody looks good coming in, as Simone is like a sexy nurse, and then we have Curtis. He shows up as a doctor. Of course, Jackie shows up, doctor, everybody is in their doctor's coats and shit. So Toya calls Simone and Heavenly to check in on how the party is going, and they say everything is, looking good. She just waiting on Eugene to shave his head, so they'll get there. Then we see Dr. Contessa's husband. He comes in. What's his name? Scott. And he lets everybody know, because Heavenly asked where Contessa was. He mentioned that, her father was sick and she had to go pick him up. So she's with him and she couldn't leave him with the kids, that type of thing. It was nice to see CeCil and Simone hug each other and acknowledge each other. He really loved her costume, and I like seeing that with them. But like I said, it's on Simone really mainly at this point. I really do feel like that from what I'm seeing. Y'all know what was so motherfucking funny, honey? I almost choked on my motherfucking drink when Dr. Damon came in. Daddy. He came in just looking like his normal self, and then they showed all them previous clips of him at a fucking party showing up the same fucking way. I was cracking the fuck up. I'm like, Damon, motherfucker, I know you could. You got more clothes than that. You could switch it up, boo. Mariah and Aiden, they show up and greet and hug everybody. Heavenly was kind of rolling her eyes and shit when, she saw Mariah. Then they showed Mariah talking to CeCil, talking about, I have me a greasy wig on, weave in, she's trying to talk shit about Heavenly. And I'm just looking like, Mariah, you need to learn to let shit go. Because you the one that came into that party last time doing all that lying about Damon. Everybody was all I saw like different reviews. People was, oh, well, she is just so funny. And Heavenly just knows that her man was cheating. And no, I don't believe that damn Damon was cheating on Heavenly at all. I believe that motherfucker Mariah was lying about that shit. So, Toya and Eugene finally get there. Heavenly has everybody inside gather around because they're about to surprise Toya and Eugene. Well, mainly Eugene, is his party, but Eugene thinks, that it's Toya's party. So they get in there and they say surprise. And then I think Mariah said, Eugene, and then Eugene still didn't get it. Toya got on the mic saying, actually, this is not a party for me. This is a party for you. I want to celebrate your promotion. I'm so proud of you. I love you, that type of thing. Toya has gotten better through the years, because I think I started watching this season 4 where she was like putting him, fat shaming him, putting him down and stuff. And she's really been uplifting her man and being a supportive wife. I don't agree with everything in their relationship, but I can honestly say that Toya is making an effort. And once again, that shady ass Simone is in her confessional with CeCil. Oh, I wish CeCil could be on call and I could just lay in the bed and be alone. And yes, she's joking, you guys, but it's them digs like that. I'm telling you, that's why they where they at, because she thinks the shit is funny and it's cute. And then CeCil was like, that's why we need Dr. Ken now. And you go keep needing him if this bitch don't do her work. So Jackie and Simone get to telling Toya why Contessa is not there. Toya is disappointed and she's just looking like, listen, I am the one that introduced Contessa to this group. She was my friend. And she's just like, I thought we were friends. And I agree. I feel like Contessa should have called Toya straight up. But I knew that Contessa and Toya's relationship was going to break apart, especially after all the shit Contessa was saying at that party. How she was in disagreement about Toya having that party, about them celebrating, paying off their taxes. Contessa was just like, oh, we celebrating for paying our bills. And, and she probably... I understood where Contessa was coming from, but when you're somebody's friend, you can't say shit like that. Without they're gonna take that shit personal. That's what it is. Whether what you said is right or wrong. Like when you somebody's friend, you can't just be talking outside of your ass. And Contessa, I don't think she fucks with Toya like that, because they had all got into it when Eugene called them some niggas. And remember, that was a big thing too. And Contessa brought a book and they shit been broke apart. So going into the season, I already knew that their friendship, it ain't gonna last that long. You can just tell. So next they saw CeCil talking to Eugene and Curtis about where him and Simone is in their relationship. CeCil was pretty much saying, we still in separate places. It's not a big deal. We're not trying to rush into moving back in with each other because, we still have a lot of work to do. Toya is in the confessional with Eugene saying, well, I couldn't do that. And I don't know how much work they could get done by living separately. Everybody's relationship is different. I will say that they definitely, though, need to be in the same household and get used to being around each other. They definitely do, because they're going to drift further and further apart, CeCil and Simone. I really do believe that. But I don't believe, and yes, when you're married, you should live together. But some people in their relationship, their relationship can last with them living separately. So I'm not really gonna say too much about that, but in their particular situation, they definitely need to be moving in and trying to work the shit out now before things get worse. They get to talking about Quad and how Quad didn't come to the party, and Heavenly was like, well, maybe she's busy, and Toya was like, well, if you're busy, tell me what you're busy with and who, what's going on in your life, be a friend. And Jackie tried to come to Quad's defense saying, she just don't want to be judged right now. And Jackie got on Toya, how Toya was coming at her about why Curtis cheated. And Toya was saying shit like, well, he just wanted attention and, he just felt lonely. And you know how Toya is. Toya has the wrong perception of how a man is supposed to treat his woman. She thinks women is supposed to just put up with that shit because of how her father is, and her father was a womanizer, and that affected and messed up Toya's vision of how a man should treat his wife. She just feels like you still should put up with all this bullshit, and no, Toya, no. So they show some white girl all up in Damon's face. Y'all know Heavenly ain't playing with her daddy. She was sitting there and making faces and shit. She ended up getting up over there. But what y'all talking about and what y'all got so much in common for and what's going on? Honey, I was weak. Heavenly don't play about daddy, honey. So Toya gets on the mic. Thanks everybody for coming to the party for Eugene. And then it's this shit with Scott, Dr. Contessa's husband, because Toya was like, well, I wish Contessa would have called me and said she couldn't make it. And then Contessa's husband got all smart talking about, oh, well, she don't really need to call you. There's a hierarchy in dealing with these things, and her father is more important, and he got to get all smart and shit. Very unnecessary. You could have said, well, she wasn't thinking, her father is sick, and I just didn't feel like he needed to give Toya all that attitude, especially since they've been knowing Toya longer than anybody in the group. I was against him talking to her like that. Toya was offended. Eugene is confused, like he don't want no drama with him and his wife. arguing with mainly his wife. Eugene wasn't going to do nothing. He didn't want his wife arguing with Scott, Contessa's husband, because it was a little bit of back and forth. There was silence when Toya was on that mic. But they end up getting Contessa on the phone, and Contessa mentioned that she's with her father. She didn't want to leave him with her kids, and Toya talked to her on the phone. Toya is getting upset as she's talking to Contessa, like, all right, go on and, be with your father. You ain't got to keep explaining, girl. Bye, bye. And so I was just like, oh my God. But Toya, she's in her feelings because she ain't hearing from Quad. She ain't hearing from Contessa. She, in her feelings, and rightfully so, because they could have handled that shit differently. And Contessa, I'm kind of against you getting on here. Toya is who brought you along, and I just feel like you should show a little bit more loyalty to her. It seemed like you got on here and turned against her ever so quickly because you got this new check. So anyways, they end up cutting the cake. Then you see Scott still talking shit. Well, I don't like how she coming at my wife. I don't like how she put my wife and shit on the spot and shit. He's telling other people, unprofessional. You don't need to be telling these fucking strangers the business between you and your friends that you've been knowing for years. You should have pulled them to the side and had a conversation. And that was that. All right, you guys, that is my review on Married to Medicine. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It is your girl, Brand New, and I am out.